2nd, 2021 Committee on Aging meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Cheryl Hintz. Julie Kiefer.
Here.
Julie David.
Here.
Bryn Seaman.
Here.
Julie Maslowski.
Here.
Judy Ritchie.
Here.
Mike Ford.
Here.
Mike Norton. And Heidi is excused and Lindsay is excused.
Okay, thank you. And the next item is the approval of the September minutes. Are there any additions or corrections? If not, I'll take a motion to approve.
I'll move.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right. Moving on, citizen statements. Were there any contacts with any statements?
No.
Okay. Public comments. We have nobody from the public. So we will move on to our presentation today. And Julie Maslowski, would you like to introduce our speaker?
Yeah, today we have Katie Samuelson, who is the Center Director for Beaming Inc., which is a nonprofit organization in Neenah that offers, equine assisted services.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having us here from Beaming. Beaming has provided equine assisted services since 2004, and we enhance the lives of aging people across their lifespan. Most of the participants are special needs. They have social, physical, and/or developmental challenges. We develop relationships with our horses, and they have experienced improved quality of life. So today I've brought along a PowerPoint to take and go over our program called Riding in the Moment. This program started back with just an idea by Walter Zarenner. In October of 2019, we hosted our very first memory cafe. So we'll get started with the PowerPoint to understand what Riding in the Moment is, and just a little bit of education for those that want to learn that. So I'll try to make this thing work. So this is one of our riders. He's 92 years old, and he fought in the Korean War, and him and his wife both come to the center. Riding in the Moment works with the person that has memory loss and their caretaker. So that's Cooper, one of the horses that's at the program. So we have a few learning objectives that we will go through: understanding dementia, its characteristics, identifying positive and negative influences through our program, and discuss the implementation of our manual and our riding program with adults, dementia, and their care partners. So that's the important part too, is that we're not only providing the services to the people that have the memory loss, but we're really working with their care partners. And to see a care partner run across our parking lot with her riding papers this summer brought a lot of joy to many people. So it was great, all the smiles. So some statistics: nearly 10 million new cases of dementia each year are worldwide. 152 million people are expected to have some type of dementia by 2050. 1 in 3 new cases every 3 seconds. I mean, that's a huge number. It's the 6th leading cause of death in the United States. So it's why it's so important as we as a society take the time to understand it. The number of people living with some form of dementia is growing and growing. In fact, there are nearly 10 million new cases of dementia each year. By 2050, 152 million people are expected to have some type of dementia. Pardon me. So like every 3 seconds, think of that, someone is being diagnosed worldwide. So next. What is dementia? Hang on, I gotta catch up here on my side, sorry. Oops, wrong way, sorry. Did it go down? So it's Alzheimer's disease, Lewy body dementia, formal temporal. Did that show up on the screen? Dementia, vascular dementia. Did that all come up on the screen? Or no? No? Let me see. John?
Next one.
There we go. All right. Technology, right? Vascular. I didn't realize I had to push it each time. All right, characteristics and stages. There's early to mild, middle to moderate, late, which is severe, and then there's the hallmark characteristics as well. There are 4 hallmark characteristics that are generally present in all types of dementia, including the memory, language, communication, and visual spatial skills. These characteristics gradually worsen over time, and people progress through the 3 stages: early, middle, or late. All right? So, hang tight. I got to make this media stuff work here. All right. So, Mr. S, here's an example, 85 years old, retired teacher, 3 daughters, enjoys nature, music, and animals. So for us, it's really important to understand our clientele when they come in, and we have cards so that we can remember from our staff how to take and make sure that we talk with them about the things that they're familiar with. And that's really a big part of it. And also key is that we have consistent volunteers, and we're using the same maybe horses, and try to keep things, very much the same. So now that we have that better understanding of the prevalence and impact of dementia, I'd like to share the work of the cases of Mr. S. One of the previous clients, Mr. S, stood out to me because, as you will soon learn, her case illustrates a range of healthcare system and individual level challenges that many older adults and their families in this country face. Mr. S is an 85-year-old retired teacher whose quality of life is optimized when she was around her 3 of her favorite things: nature, music, and animals. Doctors diagnosed Mrs. S with dementia 3 years ago, as she stated, to experience changes in thinking, day-to-day functions, and behavior. Sadly, Mrs. S' husband passed away recently. As a result, her daughters have stepped up, and the informal caregivers suggested that she move into a long-term care facility to ensure her safety and provide her more structure during the day. However, since moving into the facility, she began to disengage, socially disconnect, and very unlikely to be having a quality of life. So that's some of the things that, as this disease progresses, obviously, people, they start to do different things. Their pattern changes. And then the person with the early to moderate stage dementia also gets agitated, just that social disconnection. And their care partner starts to struggle too, whether it be their, husband, wife, or their, children, and, even just a loved one, family member. So those are some of the things that obviously we know that happen. So, hang on. So this is a lived environment life quality model to help explain how the quality of life, it was institutionalized by people with dementia, such as Mrs. S. Colleagues from Colorado State, Dr. Beth Fields, developed and published this lived environment life quality model. The purpose of the model was to guide the assessment approaches, clinical reasoning processes, and interventions that healthcare providers employ. There are 2 primary domains of the model. 1, the lived environment, the focus of the assessment and the intervention as it is comprised, and subdomains of caregiving microsystems, the person with dementia and environmental press, and 2, quality of life. The focus of the intervention goals and outcomes, and includes subdomains related to the use of time, ability to function, and relative being. So this is some of the things, the work that Dr. Beth Fields did from UW-Madison, who we partnered with. Now, when we first came up with this idea, Mr. Zerener's idea of having the cafe at Beaming, we worked with UW Oshkosh. We had the nursing students come in, and we made it pretty much fail-proof. We had stations where the clientele came through, and they, planted, little cups of flowers. They groomed the horses. We exercised the horses, let them hear the heartbeats. Just that bonding with those animals. So it was, improving that quality of life and making it, again, so it's fail-proof. What we were doing that day was, great. So that was way back in October of 2019. We've progressed quite a bit from there. I mean, we have our lift system, people riding now. So, all right, the next slide. So this, again, is more information about how this model works. If you can see that. It's, ability to function, the time use to the engagement. We try to make sure when they come to the farm that everything is the same. There's a 10 to 15 minute introduction. How have you been doing? What did you do last week? We all say hello. They talk one amongst each other. So everyone is together, and then we kind of do some splitting apart. But, it works out really nice to take and have everybody be together and talk about what they did last week, choir, they were at church, whatnot. So institutionalized adults with dementia can experience an occupantly deadening environment press. These presses are most likely to occur when environmental elements interact in such a way that a person's capacities and desire to act are unsupported. For example, and this is from Dr. Beth Fields, while she was practicing as an occupational therapist, she would do self-care routines and work with the clients in the morning. She would start out early around 7 and she would walk on her first client's room, often noticing that Mrs. S parked in front of the nurse's station just dozing off. She would visit clients until lunch and then she would head back to her office to complete the documentation. She noticed that Mrs. S was always still parked in front of that nurse's station dozing off. This is a real life critical example and clinical example of illuminated and missed opportunities. So, she's in the center and, she's just kind of sitting there and there's no interaction. So, that's sad. All right, next slide. So interventions the community utilized in dementia care. Obviously, there's the pharmaceutical treatments, and then there are the alternative practices like what we're trying to do here with Beaming, trying to get people out, doing things out in the environment, some nature and whatnot. I have a little video for you. Get your Kleenexes ready. Let's see if it starts right away. John. right, so a little video of some of the riders at Beaming. So a little overview. We are a PATH center. The place that was in Colorado, Hearts and Horses is a premier accredited center, and they had started the program out there. Dr. Beth Fields got in touch with us, and we worked together during COVID to try to come up with a manual, and we did get that copywritten, and we've been working within the means of that program. So it's a really nice fail-proof program where we can take and document a lot of the different things that we need to make this evidence-based. Let's go to the next slide if I can. Talked about the horses being groomed and all of that. For this one, we do an enrollment assessment to make sure that they are within our criteria, because we want to make sure, again, with it being evidence-based, that they are they fit within the scope of the work. In 2022, we will be going out to different centers with our horses, visiting different care facilities. So it'll be a little bit different in 2022, a different look. So we'll be bringing our mule Winston that we just purchased and our miniature horse Sparkles. So there's the assessment stuff. Let me see if I can get this to go again. An example of our day would be that they arrive at the center. Again, saying hello, get in there, make sure everybody's, all set for their morning. We've had a few things that we've learned through the, start of the program. Make sure everybody gets to the restroom and does all their business that way, have something to drink, and even a little bit of the anxiety maybe for their care partners of, what are we going to do today? Or maybe their night was, a little bit rough. Somebody didn't sleep real well. So, greetings with the participants and whatnot. Our activities, about 15 minutes, 20 minutes are mounted. One of our clients, R.E., I'll give you his initials, he was a rancher, and he knows everything about horses. He knows how to saddle, unsaddle, he knows how to feed, so he'll be out bucking bales, and he helps unsaddle his horse after, and it's quite exciting. His wife actually was the person that got her riding papers and came running across the parking lot. And the day that he saw his wife riding, it was amazing, because he had never seen his wife riding. They had never done that in their marriage, and the smile on his face and to ride next to her was so great. We do a wrap up after, debrief our care partners. They all fill out forms that are in our manual, our implementation manual, to make sure that we're collecting quality data, and then all that data is actually still being given right now to Dr. Beth Fields, and her team is taking and evaluating that. So it's really a great program that we've been instituting throughout our community. So we have some targeted outcomes that we've been using, and these are our measures: the global health. There's many indicators, the timing. And then what we expect is the improvement and reductions of fall risks. That assessment is important. We do barrel testing. As you've seen, there was like the mechanical horse. We put all of our clients on that prior to getting them on a horse. And if they never want to ride, we had one person that just didn't want to ever get on. He was able to just ride the mechanical horse. We have the lift system. So it is really something out there that everyone can do, getting our riders to learn how to mount, which muscles to use, to get on, to get off. We've had a rider actually get on behind the saddle accidentally one day, so that was interesting. These are all great things that, we've overcame and, got through. It's just really, really nice to take and, be the second place in the United States to take and have this program right here in our community. So again, it's evidence-based. There's some of Mrs. S., which would have been Dr. Beth Fields' client. Those are some of the pictures from Colorado. The need for the program, obviously, there's the statistics that way, and we are doing the equine assisted services. And then I do have the references if anyone is interested in that. So I thank you for having me, come and speak on behalf of Beaming Incorporated. We do change lives one ride at a time. We're looking for more clients. We're going to do 3 8-week sessions this summer of 2022. Again, we're going to go out remotely with the horses, visiting care centers. And if anybody would like to contact us, you can reach me at 920-851-6160. or you can check out our website at www.beaminginc.org. Some of our riders will be at our big gala on December 2nd at Bridgewood Convention Center. It's our 11th annual Night at the Races, and I invite you to all take and check that out. It's an action-packed evening with a great meal, horse racing, and you'll get to meet all of our riders because they'll all be there. So thank you for having me.
Does anyone have any questions for her?
Do you have a flyer or anything that I can distribute?
Yes, I do. I have them with me. And I also have the implementation manuals here, the curriculum manuals. Again, those are available for sale for other centers. We're trying to bring this program nationally. It's been a long time coming. We've taken and went out and asked a lot of people in our community, hey, how are we doing? What can we do to support the community? And this is just another way. So we've really diverse from taking and working with our schools and all the different populations demographically. We've really broadened our horizons. We have camps during the summer for teens too. But I have all those flyers available, or you can go right on our website and see all the things that are upcoming. Again, that's www.beaminginc.org. Yep.
I ask about funding. I think more and more that caregivers are providing informal care for their families, father, mother, mother-in-law, father-in-law, and so they see this and they want to have some connection and learn about the enrollment process. What are some of the options for funding?
So we are not charging for this program. We are writing grants to our community leaders and asking our stakeholders to take and help us get this off the ground. We want to make sure that the program is sustainable, and that's why we made it fail-proof. So everything that we're doing, we do to make the quality of life be enhanced for those participants. The one rider that was on when you were all, saying aw, the whole time there was a different child that came with her. And, so the whole family got to engage. And our cafes that we do with Fox Valley Memory Project, Mike Rohrcast has joined, and even written letters for us in reference to the work that we do in the community. We invite, whole families to come and sit at the stations and go through it. And that's just a little bit of, trying it out. It's a great way to see if it's something that they'd like to do, to say you want to be out in nature and you like horses, but once you go out there and there's a few flies. I mean, the barn's super clean. Our facility is heated in the winter. We have late season cafes. When we did October of 2019, it snowed that afternoon. Touchmark brings buses out. Pam is great at bringing out staff. So we have like a ratio that we try to keep where you bring in support staff, but families are completely included. Again, our funding has been coming from different sources. Mr. Zerenner has his wife's family-friendly dementia fund. He's been supporting it. We've been writing grants throughout the community, and we're looking for more grant ideas. So if there's anyone out there that has suggestions or that thinks that our idea is great, come and see us. We have some great statistics to share with you. Our final answers for our participants this first trial run. We'll have all that data on how we improve the quality of their life and their risk and fall hazards and whatnot coming out soon. All that data has been compiled by UW-Madison, Dr. Beth Field's team. So again, we want to make sure we can prove to our donors that, it's a successful program. We want to be able to take and have this go national where it can be used throughout our country. And being the second place in the United States to be doing this is really remarkable for us here in the Fox Cities, the Oshkosh surrounding areas. So, any other questions? And did I answer that complete enough?
You did perfectly. I actually had an idea, though, about tapping into additional grant funding. So I had previously worked in a supervising position with the Aging and Disability Resource Center, and part of what that role is working with evidence-based programs. So you piqued my interest when you mentioned that. Typically, those programs can be funded with small pots of money. So if somebody had difficulty or if you needed
Right.
another revenue stream, maybe what I'll do is just email you, because I think all of the evidence-based programs that can be used for funding such as that have to go through, it's called the WIHA, Wisconsin Institute on Healthy Aging.
Okay.
But that might be an idea. So
Yeah.
I will reach out to you and get in touch with
Yeah.
you that way.
So we have a grant writer that can help, and Dr. Beth Fields has her whole team. So it's been really great working with, people from Colorado and all over, and we've instituted, people come in and just take a hard look at this, tell us what you think. What can we do to make this really, really viable in the community and keep it sustainable as well? So, Hearts and Horses, they did a great job out there, and, we modeled our project off of them, and we were very fortunate to have, like Touchmark and Microcast, Fox Valley Memory Project, Walter Renner. They all wanted to, roll their sleeves up. The nursing students from UWO, it was great. They all came up with really good ideas, and, it took a team, a village, and we're doing this, and, we're going to have more clients coming in, and we're open enrollment right now to take and have the spring and summer, guests come in and families. So, any other questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're always welcome to come out and see the facility. We do programming year-round, so we have our veterans riding on Wednesday evenings as well. So again, that's, touching another whole demographic of our community. So, and that's as well free to our community. So, all right.
Awesome.
Thank you for having us, and thank you for helping us change lives one ride at a time by letting us take and present today. I appreciate you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. A lot of good information there. Okay, moving on, under old business, the Senior Expo recap. And first of all, I'd like to thank Bryn and our former member, Ron Durkop, who came and helped to staff the Committee on Aging booth. Bryn, kind of your impression of what you saw that day.
I think when I spoke with Jeannie, she initially seemed a little bit disappointed. If I hope I'm not putting words in her mouth, but just, there was a few less vendors, it seems, this year than in years previous. However, I also heard people from the visitors saying that actually they preferred it. In some ways, it was a little less congested. They had the time to talk to people at the booth without feeling like they were rushed or just grabbing something quick to move on. So I don't think that even if there were less vendors this year than last year, that it was impacted at all negatively. I think it went off very well, a lot of good information. I think everybody had comments about the puppies in the front lobby, so that was a big hit. And I was able to strike up a few really, really good, I think, meaningful conversations with folks at the table too. So that was nice. Unfortunately, I think we're a little bit of a hidden gem. Folks don't necessarily know what the Committee on Aging is, so it was nice to just be able to speak to that a little bit and that it exists and some of the topics that we cover. So it was, I thought, very worthwhile.
Mm-hmm. In addressing Jean Tondrick's comments, I had an email after that. And actually, even though the number of vendors and the number of attendees were down, the remarks from the vendors themselves and from the attendees were, for the most part, highly positive. And the fact that there was seating throughout the room, that there were tables, people could come through, take their time a little bit more at each of the spots, gather their literature, go sit at a table, go through it, go back and talk to the individual vendor, and get more information all in one day without being rushed or necessarily having to give their name. And it really was, and having been, this was what, our third or fourth time that the committee has been involved, I really think it was the best in that respect, of people taking more time, not feeling like they were being rushed through or pushed through, and certainly better conversations. And Jean, the senior center was there, and what was the reaction from your group?
Yeah, probably the same. I think a lot of the people that came through, it was a little slower, so we definitely were able to talk to people, give out our information, tell people who we are, and it is amazing that some people that live in the community don't really know a lot of our businesses, but a lot of new people that came through, and we've been seeing a lot of new people even in the center that just moved back or moved here to the community. So that's kind of a nice thing too, so.
And she is already planning for 2022, so hopefully some of us will still be able to be engaged at that point. Any other old business? Okay, moving on, new business. Discussion of alternates and ex officio members. And Jean and Mike, I think you've got more information than I do on that.
Yep,
With
I
some-
can.
I'll let Jean go. 'cause
Yep,
I-
I'll
I
come
don't.
forward. Lynn Lawrenson, the attorney for the city, had emailed out to all the different boards. And what they want to do is kind of clear up the procedure for our alternates so that you as a committee comes up with a procedure that you want to have for this committee with the two alternates. So an example, some boards and commissions designate the alternates as number 1 and number 2. And then we'll use number 1 first and then number 2 second. Others alternate them based on who served last or alternate months or another manner. So we're able to have 2 alternates and we just have to decide how we're going to use them. So any thoughts, any discussion? It's up to you guys how you want to proceed with those 2 alternates.
Who are our 2 alternates?
Currently,
Mike.
Mike Norton, who was on the, is on the county board. And as far as I know, we don't have a second one.
Joanne Murphy Spice going to be
The
a member?
application is
or-
in. I
okay.
don't know if that's been before the council or approved or,
Okay, so we have Joanne Murphy Spice kind of in
The application in the
role
process.
here, yeah, so, in the process.
yeah. When alternates on this committee were new just in the last 2-3 years. And the process that we sort of worked out was going by who was appointed first in using that. And we did have, I think, 1 or 2 occasions where we actually used both alternates at a meeting. But it's part of the rationale for the alternates is to be able to maintain your quorum, that we're not having to cancel meetings. And for us, as a committee, we went from 13 members to 9, which was good. But we still had troubles maintaining a quorum on occasion. And so having alternates was a really good bonus. The boards and commissions meeting, the mayor was asking each of the reporters at that particular meeting how we handled it. And it seemed to be, just as Jean said, number 1, number 2, alternating, or month by month. There was no consistency to it, but it's what seemed to be working in each of those groups. So, again, it's up to us to decide how we want to do it. Do we want to continue with how we had been doing? Do we want to change it? Or what?
I'd keep it simple, right? I have number 1 and 2. Number 1's the person who was appointed first. Number 2 is the person who was appointed second.
And those are 1-year terms, so it doesn't, well, yeah. Anybody else?
Yeah, I think trying to do like every other month would be too confusing for the individuals, and keeping it consistent like it is now, I think is good.
Any other comments?
And you said it's working, right?
It was working, yes. And we were, in June, we had no alternates. And then Mike Norton was appointed, but we haven't seen him at a meeting. And then we've got Joanne, who has submitted an application. And I'll have to get hold of the mayor and Diane again to make sure that it's, if it hasn't already been on the agenda to be accepted, that it be done. Because Was that on any list of possible appointees?
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, okay. So I'll follow up on that.
I think alternates are allowed to participate. in
They're
the
allowed to
meeting.
participate in the
Yeah.
meeting
They're
completely
a
with the
voting member and,
Yep.
except for voting.
no,
And-
in here it does
Okay,
say that they are a
They
voting
can,
member.
they can vote, but they're, as an alternate, when they're allowed to vote is when we've got a missing member and they're acting in that
Correct.
capacity.
Right.
But as an alternate, they can sit at the table and fully participate in discussions. They just can't vote unless they're filling in for a missing member. So, I mean, having alternates adds two more opinions, which can add a lot of value or can sometimes cause a little dissension, but that's not all bad. So, at least as committee chair, I found it to be very beneficial. So, okay, so.
So
then the-
currently, right now, Mike Norton is then designated as alternate 1, because we still have to fill alternate 2, so.
Which would be hopefully Joanne.
Right.
And in case anybody doesn't remember who Joanne is, she's with the health department, working with the evidence-based programs. So, again, Mike brings the perspective from the county level and other areas. Joanne brings in the health department and evidence-based, and she has a background in teaching also. So, a great deal of diversity on our committee, which is really, really good. And hopefully we can continue that way. And then we've got Mike Ford to keep us in line that we know what we're doing.
We have
Thank
Jean.
So we do
Yes.
have to make a motion with it.
Okay, so
Oh.
anybody want to make the motion on that?
I'll move. I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion to continue as we have been with alternate 1, alternate 2, and as being called into active duty, for lack of a better term. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Moving on, upcoming community events for older adults. We'll start on Jean's side this time.
Oh. I'm just going to pass out our newsletter. Whoops.
Ooh.
There we go. And just continuing with our programming at the center, we still have mandated face coverings through the city facilities through November. And again, all of our activities are going well. We still keep all of our programs with a smaller amount of numbers, but still large enough that we're servicing the people in the community. So as you can see, and our partnership with Julie and our LRI programming is going quite well. And maybe you can speak on that when we get around by you, so.
Oh, sure.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
You said there were newer people. So why are they relocating here, just out of curiosity, who might be joining the senior center? Is it family connection? Yeah, I'm excited
I can
about
answer that. Well, I think I might have some insight on that. I've reviewed how many are residents at Bella Vista, and like 50% of them are from outside the Oshkosh area.
Okay.
And they're moving here because their kids are here.
Okay.
And so I just think it's interesting that so many are coming. But Oshkosh is ranked 14th in the nation out of 257
I saw
small
that
cities
too,
to retire
yes.
in. And so it kind of makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I thought that was a great little plug for our city, so.
And we're seeing the same thing in our apartments. The number of ones that are moving to be closer to their family and the new little grandchildren or great-grandchildren. And so it really is exciting. Although I walk down the hall and I don't recognize a lot of my neighbors anymore. But it is, and it adds a whole different dynamic to a neighborhood or community. So again, I think that's a real positive. So, okay. Julie Davids?
Yeah, think that, my opinion, or?
Or your report, either one.
Yeah, so, I think that adding Joanne to the team, I think that was, that, you know, if that works out, I think that's great. She has a lot of energy and, knowledge, so I think that's good. And I'm really excited to learn about your program as well.
And your husband is very proud of the training that you're taking and the direction you're going?
Oh, so I am taking training with Teepa Snow. I don't know if anyone knows who Teepa Snow is. So she has a small, it's called Train the Trainer. So it's personalized training with actually Teepa Snow. So Teepa Snow is, are you familiar with who she is?
Mm-mm.
She is a really well-known person that helps teach caregivers and communities how to work with people with dementia.
Okay.
So, so that is a 13, or it's actually a 12-week, 12-week certification, and then I have to submit videos and all kinds of stuff. And then if I pass the assessment, then then I'll be certified, and then I'll be one of Teepa Snow's trainers, where I can go into communities like Bella
Yeah.
Vista or Lakeshore and do training representing Teepa Snow.
When
That's
John told me
amazing.
that, I
That's
thought,
great.
"Oh,
Yeah.
what a great asset that's going to be for us."
Yes, I am really excited about it, and it's so many people that we can help, not only the people with dementia, but the caregivers and the families. So-
Well, and if you're able to reduce or prevent some of the behaviors, I mean, the quality of life improves, they're not on
Yes.
as much medication, you become a huge, integral part of their life. Well done.
Sure. Yeah, I'm excited.
Julie Kiefer?
Sure, I can talk more about what Jane was saying about learning and retirement. Learning and retirement holds their programming off-site. Many programs are at Evergreen, and we've also been working with the senior center and using the large room there. So the one that's coming up in November is a hot one. The Legacy of the Athearn Hotel by Michael MacArthur from the library. He's always a popular speaker, and so learning and retirement's full, but the senior center has some spots open. If you are interested in hearing that program, it's completely free, and you can register through the senior center to do that. And then I believe in December, the one that we're co-hosting together is Everything Google, and Stephanie would be doing that from the Connect with Tech program.
Mike, updates with the council or anything
Yeah, I'll
else?
just say, we have our budget hearing tomorrow night at 5, and that's meant to be for the public. So if anyone has any opinions on the Oshkosh budget, tomorrow at 5 o'clock here in this room is a good place to come and let us know what we should be doing. That'll be online as well. Also, the COVID boosters are out there, easy to get. So if you are so inclined, go get them.
Julie Maslowski?
Next Tuesday, I get mine. I'm excited. We are home care assistants, Edenbrook of Oshkosh, and St. Croix Hospice. We're getting together again to work on the Santa for seniors this year again. It was a really wonderful thing last year, and so just spreading the love. So just keep an eye out for more information on that. So if you know anybody that could benefit from, a gift, and just knowing that somebody's thinking of them, please reach out to us.
Okay, thank you. And Bryn?
Impressive program. I'll just do what I normally do, pass around the Aging and Disability Resource Center newsletter. I think many of you already have it. I think one of the bigger points is just recognizing that November is National Caregiver Month. So formal caregivers or informal caregivers, family members who find themselves in the position of being a caregiver, are folks that we really need to lean into and support this month. And I appreciate that the ADRC made that actually the front cover of their newsletter and talked about the programs that could potentially be used to help support people. So it's not necessarily programs that are based on financial eligibility, they're more based on need. And I think that now more than ever, following pandemic or people finding that they both need to care for their children as well as maybe other loved ones, the sandwich generation, if you will, are those folks in particular that some of these programs would be perfect for. One program is called NFCSP, or National Family Caregiver Support Program, and the other is AFCSP, which is specific to those with Alzheimer's and caregivers of those with Alzheimer's. I do like their upcoming November calendar of events. I think if you guys ever have anything that you would like to see in here, they'd be happy to consider putting it on here so that it's really inclusive. They have everything throughout the county so that folks are able to participate where it's most convenient. Veterans Day, obviously, another important milestone to celebrate within the month of November. Marketplace open enrollment plans came out yesterday. I started looking at them myself, so that's another big to do in the month of November. And I think that's about it. Not too much that I have to report on. Oh, last page. I did mention this too. Mi Ying is talking about perspective from a Hmong culture and her experience. That's actually coming up very quickly. That's this Thursday already at 3 p.m. and you can join virtually. It's all Zoom. So it might be a little bit more convenient if you are working and maybe that could be your break or a late lunch or what have you. So I think that's it. All my updates.
Thank you.
Judy, I just want to mention too, in December 11th, we have an event at the farm. And at 10:30, it's exclusively for seniors to come out and visit the horses, and we'll have a picture opportunity with Santa Claus and our sleigh and our miniature donkey and the pony Sparkles. So if I can get that out there to the community, that would be great. But it is an open house, and we're going to make sure we do everything with our COVID care plan. But I just want to make sure everyone knows that they're welcome to join us for that exclusive hour. It's seniors.
What day and time again?
December 11th.
Do you have to register?
No. I might be regretting that, but
That's a good
we
problem.
had it registered last year, but we're still, cleaning and in between clients, coming through doors and keep everything real open. But it is a very large facility, so again, we'll have those stations and make it real safe. But we did the 10:30 to 11:30 hour for our senior population.
Thank you. This is not geared towards older adults as far as recipients, but older adults as they're looking at what they could do for gifting. And I realize that the actual event is this coming Saturday, but the Salvation Army is very much in needs of coats for kids. And so even if we're past that particular date, anybody watching us on television later or whatever, donations for that would be greatly appreciated. And sometimes, even though we're talking coats for kids, sometimes there are seniors that are in need of things, and the Salvation Army works towards that too. Keep in mind that Father Carr's Place to Be is looking for donations for the Thanksgiving meal and are doing deliveries out to seniors in the community. So a couple of things holiday-wise, Thanksgiving and Christmas, of things that can be done. Great thing for kids to do in honor of their parents when their parents say, I don't want anything, I don't need anything. So keeping that in mind for holiday giving. So, Jean, any other comments?
Did we approve the minutes?
Yes.
September 7th. I missed the people.
Okay. It was Mike and Julie.
Sorry. My new role here today is a little. You're doing great.
When we're missing our regular secretary, we do have issues,
Yeah.
all of us. So, anyway, with nothing else, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay. All right, then with that, we will adjourn, and our next meeting date is December 7th. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.